Hello everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Marie. Let's jump right into the introduction part of our 8-week series, The World Behind Your Eyes. This class today is really all about laying the foundations for the terminology, the vocabulary that we use, so that we are all on the same foundational playing field, so to speak, so that you're understanding what I'm talking about, and then you can take that information in a more digestible manner. But before we jump in, I'd just like to take a moment to pay homage and say thank you to my mentors that have really helped me pull this course together for you. And those, of course, and I mention again and again and again, Carolyn Mace and Norm Sheely. It really was a course that I took with them years ago through the learning platform of Sounds True. And it was a course called Medical Intuition, and it really was the catapult that threw me into creating this class for all of you. I also want to thank Hakim Ibn Sina, also known as Avicenna, Hakim Kishti, and I'd also like to thank and pay homage to someone that's very dear to me, and that is Professor Rashid Bika from the Tib Institute in South Africa. So thank you to all of them for helping their knowledge pull this course together for you. So let's jump right in and start with what I call planting your peas. I'm a gardener at heart, and so I like to introduce my own little flavor of terminology into the work that I do. And so this really is about planting 3 rows of peas. The first P is the power of perception. And rather than me go into a lengthy discussion on perception, what I'm going to do here is refer you to an earlier video that we did on perception. So stop this video now if you need to. Take a moment and find that video on perception and take those few moments to listen to that explanation and to help you understand that perception is first and foremost the most important thing in learning to go through these motions of learning how to heal yourself and become a happier, more fulfilled individual. The next P to plant is your power. And this course is all about your power. And for me, it's about teaching you what it feels like physically in your body when you're losing power to a situation or to an individual. How do you gain that power back? And where is my power other than here and now? So that is something that we're going to revisit through every class, a little deeper and a little more profound in understanding where is my power today? Where am I other than here and now? And it's super important for you to understand these foundational P's because it will allow you to get that fullest richness out of this class for yourself. So your power can lie in the here and now, but it can also lie in your history. And it can also be caught up in future events that haven't happened yet. And a little further into our discussion today, I'm going to break that down for you. Okay? And your third P for planting is practice. And I say this to everyone that always comes into my classes. It's what you're going to learn through this class can only benefit you if you actually put it into practice. So it's no different than buying that bottle of vitamin C, thinking that you're going to help support your immune system during the cold and flu season, but only putting it in the cupboard and never taking the lid off of it. You have to put into practice what you learn. And I think one of the most valuable things that I learned through Carolyn in one of her endless seminars that I've taken is the importance of not only practicing what you learn, but realizing that once something becomes a truth within your biology, if you pretend to ignore that truth, it'll actually wear on you. and it'll actually drain power from your system. One example that I give over and over again, and it's maybe a harsh example, but it drives the point home very quickly. If all of a sudden you discover that your favorite fashion designer is utilizing child labor in their factories, you might decide then and there, hey, I'm never buying that brand again. And it's exactly like that. It's when you discover these kernels of truths over these next 8 sessions, you're going to want to honor those truths, because when the truth hits the body, the biology responds right away. You might get a little shiver up your spine, or goose pimples happen on your arms, your hairs stand up on end. The body, your physical body, recognizes the truth so fast, far faster than your mind will realize it. So when you recognize the truths, if you still pretend to ignore them, that they don't exist for you, your body's going to let you know that, hey, you know the truth about this. Now you're not allowed to let it go anymore. So these 3 P's, the perception, your power, and putting them into practice, are absolute foundations to understanding everything that we're going to talk about in these next 8 sessions. So let's start here. Let's start with the understanding of what is energy. In a very simplistic form, everything is energy. Everything around you is energy. Everything you hear, everything you see, everything you touch, everything you think, every thought that hasn't even happened yet here is all energy. The only reason that my cup is in the form that is in, because it's energy as well, is because of the vibrational frequency that holds it in its form. Your physical human body is absolutely no different. So because everything is energy, and because all energy vibrates at a certain frequency, your physical body vibrates at a certain frequency, certain instruments vibrate at a certain frequency, your chakras vibrate at a certain frequency, and because it's all energy, and because you're made up of all energy, in fact, may I say this, that everything has the same foundational building blocks. And so because of that, we are a part of everything. You cannot separate who you are from what you think, and you cannot separate yourself from your emotional state, because it connects into everything else in the same energy frequency, in the same energy pattern. So let me give you an example here. And it was a lovely example, again, that Carolyn gave us in one of her many seminars, and it worked really well with me. So I'm going to share this one with you. Take for a moment, even soften your gaze, and just think about the globe model of the Earth. So it's round, and it's got latitude and longitude lines running through it. And now place yourself in the middle of that. So as if you were sitting in the middle of that globe Earth, and these lines of both latitude and longitude are physically running through your bodies. And now just imagine for a moment that every single emotion that you feel on a daily basis, or that you are triggered by, that energetically feeds, because it does, to every other person on this planet that is feeling the exact same emotion. So let's use the emotion of anger, because it's a big one and it's very prevalent in our society today. If you are quick to anger, if anger is part of your physical makeup on a daily basis, if it's something that can happen just like that, you're in traffic, someone cut you off, boom, you're angry about it. I'll use that as an example because I know for myself, it can be a trigger for me, so it's something I have to watch out for. So all of a sudden, you're energetically connected to that energy of anger, which is connected to everyone else that is feeling that same energy of anger, and you've just now added to that energy system by your frequency, basically plugging into it. What you do to one, you do to the whole. So what you feel inside on a daily basis, minute by minute, second by second, it energetically feeds into that same energy of everybody else feeling that same energy, being tapped into or plugged into, if you will, into that same frequency. So if you're doing it to yourself, you're energetically feeding that to everybody else out there on the entire planet. Think of it this way from now on, because it is the way it is. It is a truth that now will reside in your biology, and you will feel the energetic hit from that when you try and ignore it. This is how this works. What is energy? In modern day physics, in quantum physics, it's actually known as the theory of entanglement, where everything is entangled because everything is energy, and because everything is energy, it has a frequency, and with that frequency comes a pattern of recognition. These are where mandalas come in, and all those beautiful patterns that are in nature, the Fibonacci sequence of numbers, all of these things, they are patterns because of the frequencies that they reside in. And if you've never heard about cymatics, I will just interject that quickly into this conversation, is go on a little hunt and search about cymatics. It'll help give you a deeper understanding of this theory of everything being energy, and because everything is energy, it's at a frequency, and at that frequency patterns emerge, physical patterns emerge. And so what goes one way, the pendulum must also swing the other. So with that bit of information, you also should realize that then every pattern gives off a frequency. So the pendulum doesn't just go this way, it comes back this way. So frequency creates the pattern creates the frequency. They're interchangeable, they're entangled. You can't take one away from the other. Now I want to have a little short discussion on your spirit and on your soul. And for this bit of knowledge, I'm going to rely on two schools of information that came in for me years ago. And that was through the work of Hakim Kishti in a course I did with him on spiritual aromatherapy. And it's coming in through the veil of the Sufi tradition of healing. Your spirit, and of course it's so much bigger than the way I'm going to explain it to you, but in its very simplistic form, your spirit is a result of the energies of all of your ancestors that have come in through you, in through this body, in this time and space. And it is the energy that you live by on each day. There are things that feed your spirit, and those will be things that you do almost in an intuitive way in your life, because you don't have to think about them. They happen automatically, and they give you pleasure and joy when you do them. They feed your spirit. So let's say that you're musically inclined and you absolutely love to play the piano, and in your darkest moments that is where you go because it feeds your spirit. You feel better after doing it. The spirit needs to be fed throughout your lifetime, and that is why it is important to understand your emotions. And we're going to break this down in a few moments, because it is through the veil and the door of your emotions that you will learn what feeds your spirit and what drains your spirit, what takes that energy away from your daily living. So in its simplest form, your spirit comes from all of those lovely ancestral gifts, the things that you don't even think about doing. For myself as a child, and I use this story over and over again, I loved making mud pies. I loved it. It was my favorite thing to do from the time I was little, and I considered myself like the connoisseur of mud pie making. And the reality is, 50 some years later, I'm still making mud pies, and I still love making mud pies. I just use better ingredients today. It feeds my spirit. It makes me feel good about myself. Now let's go into what your soul is. And again, I'm going to give you this analogy through that lens that I learned of in spiritual aromatherapy. Your soul is a subtle and soft energy that resides within you. And let me say this, both your spirit and your soul are considered subtle, soft, bodily essences. Your soul is the part of you that knows instinctively when you do something wrong. You feel it within your biology. It gives you that ping, and it'll gnaw on you in the back of your mind when you do something that you know you shouldn't. It'll gnaw at you. I think we've all used that terminology in our lifetime where something that's plaguing our mind is gnawing at us, and it's usually gnawing at you because there is some bit of information in there that you need to learn to work with for yourself. That's why it's gnawing at you. Your soul feels it instinctively. Your soul goes through progressions in your life just like your physical body. So when you're born as a baby. You grow into a child, then into a young adolescent, into an adult, and eventually your body moves into old age and eventually death. It's a cycle of life that we all are a part of. Your soul actually goes through similar stages in life. And if you don't learn what feeds your spirit, you'll never understand how your soul is impacted by either the feeding or the draining of your spirit. And your soul will stay within that first stage of development that you came into the world in as a child. And I don't mean this disrespectfully. This is the way it was taught to me. And as we explore this more and more throughout our time together, you'll understand that as you're learning to work with your chakras, you're learning to live within the higher energies. And as you're doing this, your soul is starting to awaken more. It's starting to become a part of your everyday life because you now understand how it feels when you go against a truth. Your soul was meant to recognize truth from the moment you came into this realm. And it's something that gets downplayed through our programming, through our childhood and early adolescence. And it's only usually as we start to realize that there's those questions. What feeds my spirit? What drains my soul energy? And how do I rectify that? Indeed, spiritual alchemy, because this is the door in which we're going into, is indeed the science of energy. And there was a time where we wouldn't have even had this discussion because there was a time in even my own parents' history where we wouldn't have even had the discussion of where are you thinking, where is your mind other than here. It was more than enough just to be here in the physical form. No one ever had that discussion. Oh, how do you feel inside about things? And this is the territory that we're going to learn to navigate through. We have many systems within our body, and the system we're going to learn about is our energy system. And the word that we use for that energy system, or the word that I like to use for the energy system, is our chakra system. And for those of you that have learned about your chakras, perhaps through the Ayurvedic tradition, I can tell you this is going to give you a very different spin on how to work with your chakras. I actually learned more about my chakras through this system of healing and then went in to study more about it through the Ayurvedic tradition, and it certainly gave me a larger lens on which to absorb that information from. So this will do the same for you. It'll just enhance what you already know to be your chakra system. Now, in a lot of this work, there's terminology that I've come over again and again throughout the years, so I'll use a good one, the woo-woo factor. Is this just all woo-woo? No, actually, it isn't just woo-woo, because a few decades ago, there became this new science known as neurophysiology, and it was the study of the nervous system. And the nervous system has different nerve centers throughout the body, and lo and behold, if they don't just completely overlap what is known as our chakras. So from 1 all the way through to 6, because our 7th chakra isn't actually on our physical body, it hovers just above our body. So they're energetic centers throughout our body, and they are validated through the science of neurophysiology, and they are something that can have a measurement put to them nowadays. And so where we'll talk about the 1st, 2nd, 3rd chakra in neurophysiology, they're all known as plexus. So things like your 1st chakra is known as your pelvic plexus. Your 2nd chakra is known as your sciatic plexus. Your 3rd chakra, we actually use the same terminology, and it's known as the solar plexus, the cardiac plexus, and so forth. When we get to the brain, which is our 6th chakra, this, whether you're looking at through the lens of the chakra system or through neurophysiology, this is the energetic center that needs integration into the rest of your energy centers the most. This is control central, and this is the one that can get you spinning stories off of narratives that fast. And so this is what we're going to be learning to work with, is how to retrain our brain, retrain ourselves in our thought patterns. The cellular structure within our biology spins off with a new memory, and you actually start creating a new you, both on the physical plane and on that esoteric plane as well. We're going to learn how to understand our distribution of power by learning about our chakras, our energy system, not unlike you would learn about your immune system or your circulatory system, or now the newly understood endocannabinoid system within the human body. You're going to learn how it feels when you're losing energy. And you're going to understand very quickly what it feels like when you're gaining energy back to your system, when you're feeding your spirit again. We are going to use our emotions as our guiding light or our keys to open these doors of understanding for ourselves, because it is through that lens of our emotions that we'll start to understand the path of healing for ourselves, because our emotions are right there. They're raw with us on a daily basis by the second, and we can tap into that information once we have these foundations of understanding how. At the end of the day, when you start understanding yourself through this lens of emotions, you're going to discover a happier you. You're going to discover someone who makes different choices, because you now will understand how that movement of power feels within you. So these are your messengers to allow you to unlock those doors of perception, to allow you to understand how you use your power, and then with this knowledge, put all of this information into your practice, into your daily practice. So on the screen, you should be seeing an interesting little example of an apartment building, and it's got some floors on it. This apartment building is you, okay? Your physical body is made the day that you were born, and all the work from now forward goes on the inside. This is how we're going to look at ourselves. So our physical body, we're born with our fingers and our toes and our eyes and our ears. And it doesn't change. It gets a little bigger, of course, as we grow up and mature. But the spiritual work is going on the inner floors inside our body. And again, I'm going to attribute this lovely understanding of yourself again to the work of Carolyn. She came up with these drawings, I don't even know how many decades ago now, and they just work beautifully to explain. So you've got some symbolism in your mind, how it is that you work and how your chakra system works. So you are the apartment building. And on the ground floor, your first chakra, this is where life exists on the physical plane. This is your tribal energy center. This is your connection to your family. And down here on the first floor it's busy down here. It's noisy on the first floor of your apartment building. Vehicles drive by, honking of horns, the noise of people, smell of garbage on the street if you happen to live in the city. It's noisy down here on the first floor. And because it's noisy and you're living in a very dense physical space on the first floor, it's impossible to get the clarity of the penthouse when all you can see out your window is the vehicles driving by, people talking, the garbage cans, everything in the physical world. And again, we're going to go into each level deeper as we go into each chakra lesson by lesson. But this is to just give you a simple foundation today so that we can have this understanding as we move into each class together. So on the second floor of your apartment building, this area of your second chakra, which houses things like your lower back, your sciatic, your sexual organs. This energy center, this second floor in your apartment building, this is where some awareness starts to seep in. Like maybe you're like, maybe I want to try a yoga class. Maybe I want to try a meditation class. I'm feeling like I need something a little more in my life, where maybe the job isn't so satisfying. Maybe your home life isn't so satisfying, and you start looking outside of your family unit, of your tribe, to look for other pleasures to bring into your life. And when you get up to the second floor in your apartment building, when you look out that window, you still see the vehicles driving by, and you can still see people walking and talking, and you'll still see the garbage. But it starts to soften a little bit, where maybe it doesn't irritate you quite so much, where maybe you learn a new skill like breathing, because even though we breathe on a daily basis without thinking about it, most people don't take conscious breath, and we'll discuss that again as we move through this course. And so the air is just a little sweeter. The light is maybe a little brighter coming in the window, and you're just starting to maybe walk a little straighter on the second floor. And as we move up into the energies of your third floor, this is now your solar plexus. This is your third chakra, and this is all about your sense of self. Okay, this is where the ego resides. This is also the seat of your gut instinct. And let me tell you, your gut instinct is intimately tied in your intuition. And this is a door of perception that we're going to continually work on opening throughout this class, because I don't know how to unwind one from the other, because I learned about them together as well. So I'm going to teach it to you in exactly the same way. On that third level in your apartment building, on the work that you're doing inside yourself, when you get up here, you realize that this is where your integrity comes in for yourself. This is where you learn to draw your line in the sand, as so to speak, on the things that you will and you won't accept in your life anymore. And I always give an example. I try to use some exaggerated examples when I'm explaining things, just so that they drive the point home quickly for you. So I'll use the same example I always use. Let's say today you decide, I'm no longer going to go to family dinners if drunk Uncle Fred is going to be there all the time because he makes it miserable for everybody. Everybody's on edge. Nobody goes home happy at the end of the day. It's a stressful situation. And I realize now that it stresses me out. I don't want to do that to my body anymore because I realize, as you will realize soon enough, that that's what it feels like when you're physically losing energy from your energetic system. It makes you feel yucky inside. It makes you feel like someone's come along, punched you right in the gut. You just feel sick, and you do things like this. You cross your arms over your third chakra in an attempt, and you don't consciously do this, but your subconscious does this, in an attempt to actually block you from losing more energy to the situation. There's so many things that we do without even realizing it to try and protect the energy in our energetic system. We do it with these physical manipulations with our hands. Sometimes your hands behind your back, you're protecting your second chakra. And so as you get up into the energies of your third chakra, and again, we're going to go into the vibrational frequencies that change within each chakra as well, you do start looking at life a little clearer. Because up on the third floor now, when you're looking out at your world, you're going, oh yeah, there's my line in the sand. Got it. Doesn't matter who you are. That's my line in the sand. And I don't have to think about it anymore because I drew that line nice and deep, and it doesn't matter who you are. You don't get to cross it. So there's a sense of relief because now there's that part of you that energy of worrying about that. It doesn't exist anymore because you've let the worry gone, because you've got that stronger sense of yourself now within that third chakra, within that third level within your apartment building, and you do feel better about yourself. And when you look out through your window and you discover, life is moving along a little simpler. I don't have to stress about things so much. Maybe I'm not worried about future events so much. Maybe I'm learning to live more in the here and now and present time, worrying about my happiness today with the choices that I make. And you really start learning to feel good about yourself. But let me caution you here. What you're going to instinctively want to do, and trust me, I've done it a million times, and so I can say this with absolute authority, and anyone else who's been on their journey of discovering their inner self will tell you exactly the same thing. Here's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to open your door from your third level of your apartment building, and you're going to want to run downstairs to everybody on the first floor and tell them what the view looks like outside of your third apartment window. And they're not going to want to hear anything that you have to say. They might even think that you're a little, maybe you're hiding your own Easter eggs, because you're going to start looking at life a little differently, and symbolic sight is going to come into your level of awareness. And when you're on the first floor, living in that dense physical world where you're just, you're working hard to make $1 to feed your family, to get a decent amount of sleep so you can get up tomorrow and do it all over again because you're caught in the hamster wheel. You don't want to hear about anybody's enlightened experience or how they look on things in life because you're caught in that first chakra energy. So I caution you to be careful how much you want to share with family, friends, and close confidants as you move along on this journey within yourself, because it's a journey for yourself, and you're going to want to share it with others. It's instinctively for the human spirit to want to share kernels of truth and information with others. Just be aware to know that not everybody might be ready to hear what you have to say. Just soften the blow for yourself a little bit. Then as we move up into the energies of our fourth chakra, let me say that this is the energy of your heart. And in the way I was taught, this is what we call the alchemical soup pot. This is where all transformation takes place, is in the energy of the heart. And we will instinctively, like when you get a third chakra hit, when you feel that punch in the gut feeling from a situation that doesn't feel good, the same thing you'll do with the energy in your heart. If you get a piece of information that impacts you because it's someone that you love or you care about dearly, you will automatically grab a hold of your heart. And if it's a familial kind of a hit, you might actually even lose energy in the bottom half of your body where you go, oh my God, I got to sit down. Because this is what happens when we lose energy in those areas. Our fourth chakra, we feel that hit here. And in our first chakra energy, when we lose that energy quickly, we'll feel like, oh my gosh, I have to sit down here. I feel weak in the knees. Every one of these chakras represent their own feeling on how it feels when you lose energy or when you gain energy back to it. And again, we'll keep expanding on this as we go throughout this class together. So in the fourth chakra, because this is where all transformation takes place, this is also a huge area of physical discomfort for a lot of people through the shoulders and the upper back and neck area, holding lots of tension. And if you're one of these people that, let's say you know a truth, but you're unwilling to allow that to manifest within your biology, that you're maybe stuck in a different thought process, and you might know that a truth is a truth, but you're not really ready to accept it yet. You're going to do things that, again, protect that energy in your heart, and you might not even realize this, but a lot of people will slouch. And again, I'm not saying that you're doing this consciously, but on a subconscious level, the body wants to protect the energy centers. So the slouching, or if you're the type of person that has a job where you're at a desk all the time, where you're kind of bent over maybe a keyboard or something, you don't even realize it. You're protecting this heart energy, and it tightens up the muscles in this area. And as we move through this, I'm going to give you some simple exercises to actually help physically open up this energetic center and learn to work with that sensation and feeling within this upper part of your body. So again, remember, as you move up into these energies within your apartment building, your body, you are automatically going to want to share these new revelations and new truths and new lenses of perception with others. Just remember that not everybody is where you are. And if they are, the conversation will flow easily and freely, and you won't have to feel like you're trying to drive your point home. It just comes with ease. So just, again, just as a word of caution, this is your journey. So work through it fully for yourself before you try and share too much with others, especially those that aren't ready yet. In our fifth chakra, this is now coming up into the area of our throat. This is the power of choice and will. And I know myself, this is a big chakra center for me that I've been working with forever, it seems like, because I can get choked up quite easily, especially if I'm trying to suppress a truth out of concern about someone else's ability to receive that truth. So this is what can happen to you. You can physically get choked up when you want to say something that you maybe think you shouldn't say, or vice versa. Sometimes you'll do things like this. You'll put your hand to your throat. You'll clear your throat. This is all part about your energetic centers making themselves aware to you. And we'll go through this through each class, how each energy center affects a different physical portion of the body. So, this is your voice. And if you are suppressing your voice out of fear of what others think, for instance, you won't use your voice, and that energy center in your body can become weak and dysfunctional. And again, once you get up to this area, when you start to use your voice as you step further and further into your power, because you've now drawn your line in the sand in the third chakra, and you're starting to make that lovely transformation in the heart chakra, thinking more of living more in the energies of love and compassion instead of frustration and anger and disappointment. This energetic center is fundamental in allowing you to regain and hold on to all of that lovely power that you're given to live every day of your life with. And we'll explain that in just a moment a little deeper. Then moving up into the energies of your sixth chakra, which is also known as your third eye. And it's centered right around the middle of your forehead. It's also in line with your pineal gland. And it is really about opening up those perceptions of symbolic sight. This is the power of your mind here. And your brain and your mind are actually two different things, because your brain is the physical part of yourself that, it's here, it's in your head, it's got mass to it, it can be measured. But the mind is that energetic quality that can take off in a million different directions while you're here and now. And it is about learning to live in present time that brings us always back to the present moment. And we learn this through the value of our breath, because the moment we make ourselves aware of our breath, it brings us back into that time of the here and now. So the mind is that part of ourselves that can be doing a million different things while you're standing there chopping up vegetables for your evening dinner. It can be spinning narratives. It can be keeping you trapped in portions of your history. You can be worrying about future events. You can be doing a million other things, but be here and now. So this is part of the power that you're going to learn to acquire within this class with me, is how to maintain your power, hold on to your power, retrieve your power from past traumas, future events that haven't happened yet. And again, let me give just that little word of caution as you travel up the levels within your apartment building. You're going to discover kernels of truth about yourself and the world and how things actually work in a very different way than what you've ever been led to believe or allowed yourself to believe. You're going to want to run downstairs to everybody that's still stuck on the first and second floor, and you really want to try and haul them upstairs with you. And just know that not everybody's ready to hear the messages that you're willing to accept and hear as a truth, and that allow yourself this whole 8 weeks, because I do suggest to do one class a week for 8 weeks to allow all the information to digest a little bit, because I give you a lot of information. Allow yourself this time to go through this whole course, maybe before you start sharing too much with others, so you're not the crazy friend that's trying to tell everybody, yeah, but an apple's not really an apple anymore. Because when you have symbolic sight, you do learn to see things differently. And that's also part of the gift that I will share with you in this course material. And your seventh chakra, that seventh energy center, that one is just hovering above your head. It's not really on the physical body, but this is your connection to that divine energy, to that universal energy that has been with you from the day that you came into existence, and in fact was there prior to. When you get to your penthouse, when you start to see life that way, life feels easier. It feels like you have to put less effort into the things in life. I'll give you an example of my own life. So a number of years ago, I remember having a family dinner, and I remember saying very clearly to my daughter that for the first time, this particular family dinner didn't feel like I didn't feel over anxious. Everything just went smoothly. I didn't make the meal any different than I had for decades prior, but because I had grown spiritually so much, it didn't seem to be the challenge or that anxiety-driven moment that it used to be in my younger years. And I'll give you a little kernel, and I learned this through yet another wonderful mentor of mine that I haven't mentioned, who has passed on now, and her name was Lillian Bridges. And I learned Chinese facial reading through her. And she explained it this way, that it's like when you're growing up, it's like climbing up the side of a mountain. You feel like you're always trying to get a little higher, attain more altitude. And when you get to that plateau at the top of the mountain, you're just walking along the top and you're looking down at everyone else that's still trying to climb their way to the top. And you're going, it's so much easier just to walk along the ridge instead of trying to climb up the sides. And I hope that helps explain things a little bit better for you and puts a little analogy, a little picture into your own mind, that as you reach that fulfillment in life where you can start to control your energetic outbursts, where you realize where you're trapped within your history for some energy that you've got trauma to deal with, that life just gets better. It gets less difficult. Things go along smoother. You get irritated less quickly because you've learned more about yourself, and you breathe a little deeper. You look out the window every morning and you give thanks, truly thanks, for each and every day that you've been given to live, because it truly is a blessing. Every day of your life truly is a blessing. So at the 7th level in your apartment building, and again, I'll explain it the way Carolyn does, when you get up there and you're in the penthouse and you look out the window, you might all of a sudden see a river off in the distance that you couldn't see on the ground floor. And you might realize that the skyline is so much bigger, the world is so much bigger than what you could see when you were on the first floor. And you might realize that the air has a different quality up here. You're breathing a little deeper. It doesn't smell like garbage up here so much. That the beautiful sunset is far more magnificent than you could ever see it down on the bottom floor. That's the difference. This is how we will interpret and utilize symbolic language throughout this course as well. So let's talk about your power so that you can understand your power and where it may reside other than here and now. Because even though you're in this course with me right now and you're listening to me talking to you, I also know how the mind works, and I know there's a million bits and pieces of your mind off on a million other different missions, and other than being here and now. And I get that because I've had to learn to work with that quality within my own mind. It's something that I have to be very conscious of on a daily basis. So picture yourself with energy rays at the top of the head. That is 100% of the energy that you've been gifted every day to live that day with. Okay? And if you think about it this way from now on, you'll learn to catch yourself when you fall. So let's say this 100% energy that you're gifted with every day, let's say this all starts first thing in the morning, okay? So before you open your eyes, that lovely divine presence out there in the universe has decided that you get to wake up today. So that energy is infused into your biology before your conscious mind even becomes awake. You wake up in the morning, and the first thing that's on your mind is something that happened yesterday or something that happened in your history that you can't let go of. So this 100% energy that you're gifted with by the universe to live each and every day, let's say when you wake up in the morning that the first thing that pops into your mind is someone that cut you off in traffic on the way home from your job yesterday, and it's still fresh in your mind, and there's a part of you that, wants your own little revenge and reward for the situation. you're giving energy to that situation. So part of that 100% energy that you're gifted with every day, before you even put your feet on the floor, you're giving energy to that. So it's a small thing. So let's say 5% of your energy that you've given away to that. And remember, this is before your feet hit the floor in the morning. And I can speak with authority on this because I've certainly gone through this in my own life. Let's say that you're in that place in your own mind where you're so trapped in some traumas of your own history that it's one of the first things that you think of each and every day. And tip of the iceberg could be the guy that cut me off on the way home from work. But the bigger problem lies further back in my history. So let's say that I have a trauma from my early childhood. And when I say early childhood, I'm going to refer to prior to the age of 7, okay? Because at the age of 7 is when the frontal closes over and the age of reasoning kicks in. So let's say that you are very aware that this situation from your history crosses your mind a million times a day, and that it's one of those things that fundamentally is on your mind when you first wake up in the morning. Any trauma from your history that you're still thinking about is draining energy from your energetic system, from your chakras. How do you know? Think about something from your history and pay attention to the emotional state that your biology responds with. If you are still feeling it and your emotions are alive and well, it is alive and well energetically in you, and it is literally sucking energy from your life every single day. A trauma from your history is a trauma from your history. It drains your energy. Size does not matter here. You can have something energetically draining you from your history that is, let's say you lost a teddy bear when you were 3 years old and you didn't get the consoling from your parents that you felt you needed to move on from losing that teddy bear. That trauma could be alive and well and as strongly energetically draining you as someone who lost a parent. So size doesn't matter here. It's not the size of the trauma that matters. It's the perception of the traumatic event that matters. How you perceive that information. And again, I'm going to say we're going to work through this step by step as we work through our chakras. How you perceive the information from your history affects your biology today. So if I'm hung up on an event from my history that I literally know that I think of every day, and maybe I catch myself now thinking of it more than once a day, maybe I realize that it's consuming a big part of my thought process. And maybe I then start making the connection that I make choices in my life based on that trauma in my history that I'm losing energy to. So let's give it a value. Let's give that, because it's a big one, let's give that 30% of that 100% of the energy that you're given to live with. So now 35% of your energy in total is being energetically drained from your system before your feet hit the floor in the morning. And you might have several of those. You might have 2 or 3 really big ones and a couple of small ones in between. Maybe you can't let go of the fact that some guy in grade 4 pulled your hair and you're still mad about that. Or, maybe you lent $20 to a friend at one point in your life. Maybe that was 30 years ago, but maybe you're still stuck on it. And how do you know you're stuck on it? Because you think about it. And if you think about it, it's alive and well in your biology because you feel it. It'll bring on an emotional state. The moment you think about, that guy that owes me $20, and your voice changes, you're getting angry about it. You are losing energy to it. So at the beginning of your day, you may very well be in the energetic hole of your energy bank account. You might have so much going on that you're energetically hanging on to from just your history. We haven't even talked about future events yet, but just your history, that you might start the day at 120% in the hole. Meaning that you physically do not have the physical energy to get through your day to day. And now here's where the narcissist comes in. You will, without even realizing it, go around to people in your daily life and you will energetically try to steal energy from them because you are physically so weak energetically that you don't have the energy to live that day. So you must go out and steal some energy from other people. How do you do this? Through the agendas that you run. Okay? The preconceived notions that only you build up in your mind. And then when something doesn't turn out the way you had planned in your mind, because remember, you haven't told your plans to the person over here that you want to suck the energy from. You just come in with your own idea. And you end up being that person that, I don't know, maybe doesn't get invited out with the rest of the team. Maybe you are that type of person that nobody even really wants to invite to family dinner. Maybe you didn't even think about that until now that you actually go out and do these type of manipulation games in order to regain energy. And trust me when I say this, everybody does this. Everybody. And even when you become aware that you're first doing this, you will still end up doing it because old comfortable shoes are old comfortable shoes. It takes time to train your brain into a different thought pattern, okay? So don't be hard on yourself. In fact, I'm going to say the opposite. Give yourself some grace as you learn these tools about yourself, because I might just have hit on a big aha moment for you. And here's the other thing that you may recognize, because we will all do this at times in our life. When you hear a truth that you know is a truth and it hits you hard, you will, if you don't have a strength in the sense of self, you will automatically want to drop down to your second chakra, pull out your weaponry, because this is where we house our weaponry, our guns, our holsters, this is where we house this. You will draw your guns symbolically and you will want to shoot the messenger. Okay? It only as we grow in our sense of self can we start to change our perception of someone picking on us or pointing something out as not a bad thing, that there's actually some value in that lesson. Nothing will make you stand up more and look at yourself than someone mirroring one of your less favorable qualities. You will recognize it in an instant and you will absolutely dislike it, and you will probably dislike the person that's mirroring that part in yourself. This is a tool that we learn as we start learning about the empowered self. So that trauma that we hold from our history, all the things that we don't want to let go of because we do feel that, and this is a human nature, you're not alone in this, we do feel that we want some type of revenge when someone's hurt us over here. And by God, we sure don't want to forgive anyone, because in our minds, we've been programmed to believe that forgiveness is something that we do to let someone off the hook for hurting us. And in fact, it couldn't be further from the truth, because forgiveness, heart chakra energy, is all about you. It's about you forgiving and letting go so you don't have to suffer anymore. So you don't energetically have to hemorrhage every single day to that event that has you trapped in your history. And again, we'll explain this further with each class so that this lens of perception can gain more and more clarity for you. Now, let me just jump into future events quickly, because you can hemorrhage and lose your energy to future events just like you can lose energy to your history, to the trauma in your history. If you're constantly worried about what's happening tomorrow, looking over your shoulder all the time because maybe you're trying to keep several narratives of the same story alive and well, you will lose energy to that just as much as you'll lose energy to your history. And if you're someone that's doing both, then it really is time for you to take that step into the world behind your eyes to discover where you're losing your power. Because events that haven't happened yet create anxiety in the body, and events from your history that you can't let go of causes depression. This is how you can differentiate between the two of them. Either way, you lose energy to these things in your biology, and it's learning to become aware that you're doing it that puts you on the path of healing. And again, our emotions are the perfect messengers for us, because you know exactly when you're feeling angry, you know when you're feeling overburdened with too much responsibility, you know when you're happy, you know when something feels good. And at the end of the day, the simplest rule I can give you is to do more things in your life that make you feel good, and learn when things don't make you feel good, how to make the choices next time so you don't have to revisit that. It's retraining your brain, training yourself to stop and think when that school of thought comes in, and you might be just standing there chopping vegetables or doing dishes or doing the laundry or vacuuming, something completely mindless, and your mind goes, back at this point in time when this thing happened to me, I'm never going to be able to let that go. You have to realize that it's sucking that energy out of you, and if anything has got your energy other than here and now, the part in you that houses your narcissist, and we all have that, by the way, you will empower that part of yourself to start running your life or leading your life more. And that's a shadow aspect of an archetypal pattern in your life. And you want to work towards the light. You always want to work towards the light. And remember this, there isn't anything on this realm that we live in that doesn't move towards the light. Even the mushrooms and the mycelium underground that come from the darkness move towards the light for a fulfilled journey. And I hope that this lens of perception that I've offered you today will empower you to give you some clarity into the working of the world behind your eyes. So with that said, let's move into some of the other tools that we will be using throughout this course together. So in your little kit, you should have your bottle of rose oil. You should have a bottle of sandalwood oil. You should also have your stick of Palo Santo, and you should have your clear quartz crystal. So now I'm going to suggest that we set that space together. So have a comfortable mat, something for yourself to lie down on. I like to suggest a few things, some type of a bolster or a pillow for underneath your head, some type of a cushion for underneath your knees as you're lying on your back, because when the knees are supported, the lower back becomes more relaxed, and this is the area of your second chakra, and this is a huge warehouse of information and energy that is it's just very good to get it relaxed and comfortable, because as we start working with the energies within our chakras, it's best that the body feel as supported as possible. And so I will also suggest that you, something as simple as just taking a towel from your bathroom and just rolling it up so that it's got a nice thickness to it, because we're going to learn to do 2 simple relaxation exercises that open up both our fourth and our second chakra. You may also want to make yourself a lovely cup of tea, and if you were in the class with me and we're doing this together, I would be offering you a lovely cup of herbal tea to have beside you. Sometimes the body requires a little bit of moisture as we're doing some meditation, or maybe your mind just needs a moment to have a drink, and then it's also there for you once I pull you back from our meditation journey. So it's nice to have something ready. If you're not in the class with me and I can't make that lovely cup of tea for you, may I give you a couple suggestions? Things like chamomile, peppermint, tulsi. Those are beautiful teas or a blend thereof to help relax the body and to digest, both for our stomach digestion and the digestion that's going to come in through that extended clarity of thought through these classes. So the first thing I'm going to get you to do is grab your bottle of Mysore sandalwood and find a little cotton pad. Now, it doesn't have to be a little cotton pad that you buy at the store. It literally could be the little cotton fluff that you pull out from your pill bottle if that's all you have, because all you need is this tiny little piece. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll up a tiny little piece of cotton like this. And then you're going to take your Mysore sandalwood, and this is the way I like to do it, so I'll show you the same way. I hold the bottle over my finger. I kind of draw off most of it, put my cap back on so I don't spill because it's very precious indeed. And then I take it between that pointer finger and my thumb, and I literally just kind of roll it around so that I can get that beautiful scent of the Mysore sandalwood on that. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to tuck that into the ridge of the right ear. Not in the ear canal, but up in the ridge of the right ear. And here's why we do this. In the ridge of the right ear exists a energetic place known as a Shen Wen spot. And this gives us instant access to our mental realms. So by imbuing that little piece of cotton with some of the Mysore sandalwood, now all of those lovely properties of the sandalwood have the ability to be transformed almost instantaneously through to the mind. So sandalwood has qualities in it that help relax us, help us to breathe a little deeper, help us in those breath work and meditative type of practices. So this is why we put that there. You're also going to want to open up your little bottle of rose oil as well. And again, maybe using a different finger this time, you're going to take that rose oil and literally you're going to wipe the vast majority of it right off on the bottle so that you just have a tiny little bit on your finger, and you're going to rub that over the back of the left hand. And when I'm working with aromatherapy, I really do believe that less is more. And because these are very powerful scents, this is why I'm telling you to use very little of it, because you want this smell to be pleasant for you, because this rose oil is exactly in alignment with our heart chakra where transformation takes place, and it vibrates at a very high frequency. If we use too much of it, when we smell it, we might go, oh God, it's too strong. We don't want the repulsion of our body. We want our body to smell it and go, oh my gosh, that smells so good. It makes me feel so good. I want to smell more. Okay. And this is why less is more, because it's a very powerful scent, both in its olfactory sense and in its energetic qualities for you. So on the back of the left hand. And so here's why we use these oils in the places that we do and why we do them that way. As we take this place of comfort in the next few moments, having this oil on the back of the hand, I'm going to get you to do a simple breathing exercise and explain to you as well that the reason that we're using this rose oil, it's for you. It's for helping you in your transformation as we do these journey work meditations together. Because ultimately, as I'm guiding you, something I say will trigger something in you. It'll either trigger a good feeling or maybe not so good of a feeling. And the rose oil is to help you move through those transitions. So let's say you recognize, oh, I just had a thought process come through my mind. I'm not having a good feeling at the moment. Simply bring your left hand up underneath your nose. And it's the 3 breaths that are important because the body starts to respond after the 3rd breath. So you take a breath in through the nose. And you just exhale deeply through the mouth. And you'll do that 3 times, and then you'll drop your hand back to your side, and it'll allow you to move through those emotional states. Now, let's say if you get a really good feeling. Something I say brings on a wonderful, joyous, happy, monumental feeling in your life. You want to drive that energy home a little further into the biology. So you would bring the hand up underneath your nose and you do those same 3 breaths, because the mind then will recognize that smell along with that beautiful memory, and it'll help create that alchemical magic even when you're not in that time and space again, just from smelling the rose oil. This is the beauty of attaching a smell to a thought process. It can help move us through those transitional times. So then taking your clear quartz crystal and placing that at the top of where your head is going to be. Now it's probably going to be lying on the floor at the top of your head, or if you're taking this meditation in bed, then maybe at the top of your pillow, but somewhere where it's physically near the top of your body. You're going to see that you will have a point to the crystal that I've sent you. So placing that upwards is a great practice. So place that there as well. And then let's take a moment and just dive into setting our intention by smudging with our stick of Palo Santo, because that should be in your kit as well. And let's just talk a little bit about imbibing, even though we have a small separate video that you can go back to again and again on setting that intention for imbibing. Let's just touch lightly on that today in this time and space. So you can either use a lighter, or maybe you have a lit candle, but take your Palo Santo out now and light it. And you're going to want to run the flame on it so that that wood actually catches and starts burning. And if it's the first time that you're lighting your Palo Santo, it will light quite quickly and easily, and you can let it burn for a few moments before you blow it out. If you're like mine and it's been lit several times, I have a bit of charcoal on it, and so it takes me a few more minutes to get a piece of it lit and get it going. And so I just want to get it going, so I've got a few of these nice red embers, and then I'm going to blow it out. And then it's going to start smoldering for me, no different than if I was using a sage smudge stick or juniper or something else. I love the Palo Santo. I love the smell of it. It's also known as holy wood. For me, it invokes great, wonderful feelings of contentment and joy. And holy wood is about healing and bringing those good energies into your existence. So if I'm sitting, maybe I want to, take my Palo Santo, run it around my feet, maybe bringing it up through my first chakra area, or maybe just holding it at the base of my first chakra area and allowing that smoldering smoke to just flow all the way through up the energy centers naturally on its own. And as I do this, I'm taking that moment to set my intention for the journey work that I'm about to set into. So whatever that looks like for me, maybe I'm open to receiving messages. Maybe I'm ready to deal with some traumas in my history. Maybe I just want to gain a deeper awareness of myself today. Whatever your intention is, take that moment to set it now by softening your gaze, bringing in the smell of that Palo Santo into the room with you. If you choose to imbibe with this class, then now is the time to set that up for yourself. So for myself, I like to use a hookah. Perhaps maybe you rather just have your cannabis rolled in a paper. Maybe you prefer a little pipe. Maybe you have another type of a water pipe that you like to enjoy your cannabis. Whatever works for you. I invite you to prepare that space for yourself now. And again, I work with the sacred cannabis for several reasons. Number one, it was a huge catapult into the world behind my own eyes many years ago. And it offered me a lens of clarity in such a short moment of time that I realized that it literally had unlocked a door for me that would lead inevitably to a million other doors opening in my life to helping me heal. Because it is a heart chakra medicine, it automatically allows you to see things just a little more beautifully. You know, the leaves are a little greener. You might be more fascinated by the spider on the ceiling. You know, maybe you find more beauty in the simple things like the patterns of the stars at night. It just has that quality about it. If you hear the message, then respond to it. If it doesn't speak your language, then I invite you to just pass it by. But at this time, I'm going to set that intention for myself by softening my gaze and taking a moment to just imbibe that beautiful, sacred cannabis. So once you've completed that, then I'm going to invite you to take your comfortable space on your mat. So a pillow for your head, taking your rolled up towel and placing it so that when you lie down, it's going to position itself in your upper back area. So once you have the bolster positioned in your upper back, and you'll know that you have it in the right way because you'll feel like your chest is rising just gently up towards the ceiling, and it will give you that softer sensation of your back having a stretch right there. You might feel like when you lay over it, like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that my upper back felt so tight, right? And it may take you a few breaths, breathing in deeply in through your nose, exhaling through your mouth, to find that place of comfort where you can just relax and let go there. For those of you that are comfortable in this position, if you'd like to enhance that stretch in your upper back, and you're also going to feel this across your chest as well, you might want to offer your arms out to either side of you because this will increase that sensation. Palms facing up for receiving, or palms facing down if you're feeling the need for grounding. And so then your next position for using your bolster is going to be underneath your lower back, okay? So this isn't going to be in the small of your back, but lower so that it's almost underneath the area of your buttocks. And again, when you stretch your legs out over in front of you, you're going to feel a gentle rise of your hips towards the ceiling, and you will feel a gentle stretch in your lower back. If you're not feeling that stretch in your lower back, you probably don't have your roll quite in the proper position. So try scooting it down a little forward, more towards your buttocks, towards the meatier part of your bum, and then lay your legs back out over it, and you should definitely feel a gentle stretch. Now, always remember that if your physical body has any limitations that either of these exercises don't allow you to do, then just completely eliminate the exercise altogether. Or if they're too painful for you to do for some reason, then simply just eliminate them. I'm only offering this for those that are able to do it because it does help us open up those two huge energetic centers in our body, our second and our fourth chakra. Okay? So then let's take that position and let's move into this space and time together. So comfortably laying on your mat, your head's fully supported, you have your quartz crystal placed at your crown chakra. You've decided where that movement of your arms need to be, either on either side of you or alongside of you. And Perhaps this is a time where you take that extra blanket to cover yourself up. And then just allow yourself to settle here for a moment. Softening your gaze. Allowing yourself to settle into this time and space. And then just allowing the breath to move in and out of the body with conscious thought, drawing that breath in through the nose, drawing that breath deep into the belly, expanding the lungs, and then exhaling deeply through the mouth. And again, inhaling in through the nose, expanding the lungs, and then exhaling deeply through the mouth. And one more time, inhaling in through the nose, drawing that breath deep into the belly, and then exhaling deeply through the mouth. And then just allow yourself to settle here for another breath or two, finding that place of comfort on the mat beneath you. Allowing yourself to know that you are completely safe within this space. And also allowing yourself to know how deeply you are loved. And now bringing that awareness to the top of your head, let's learn how to scan our bodies for any tensions that might be residing within our physical tissues. It feels like things like pain, tightness, maybe a feeling of heat or coldness. That's how you know that you're holding energetically onto something. So let's move through our body and learn how to release that tension by using our breath. So as we come across that area of tension, depending on the area of the body I am guiding you to, simply take a breath in and then release it from your body. And consciously think of it going out of your body. So let's begin at the top of the head, moving down the front side of our body. Starting at the top of your head, moving that awareness through your hair until your hair meets your forehead at your hairline, and allow your awareness to gather there for a moment, releasing any tensions that you find there. Then allow that awareness to travel through the folds of your forehead, into the area of your eyebrows, and the sockets of your eyes, to the area of your cheeks, the large muscles on either side of your jaw. And can you allow your jaw to lightly unhinge so that your mouth slightly opens here? Can you allow your awareness to travel down the muscles on either side of your neck, into the contours of your shoulders, into your upper arms, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, your hands, and your fingers. Bring that awareness back up into your chest, into the area of your breasts and your rib cage, to the area of your stomach, your sexual organs, your hips, into the bowls of your hips, the front of your thighs, your knees, your shins, your ankles, your feet, and your toes. Breathing and allowing all is well. And on your next inhalation, bending your knees so that your feet are flat on the floor. And then making that transition to move that rolled up blanket or pillow from underneath your upper back down to the area of your lower back underneath your buttocks, in whatever fashion is most comfortable for you. So make that transition now. And remind yourself to find that place of comfort again so that your head is fully supported and that the rolled up blanket underneath your lower back, once your legs are fully extended out in front of you, creates a gentle stretch in your lower back, the area of your second chakra, giving a gentle rise of your hips towards the ceiling. And find that place there now. And once you've discovered that place of comfort, offering the body those same 3 comforting breaths where you're drawing the breath in through the nose and then exhaling deeply through the mouth. Allowing us to center into this time and space once again, drawing the breath in through the nose and exhaling deeply through the mouth. And one final time, inhaling in through the nose, drawing that breath deep into the belly, expanding your lungs, and exhaling deeply through the mouth. And we begin that gentle body scan now through the backside of our body, starting at the top of the head, and reminding you to use your breath anytime you find that area of tension, taking that breath in through the nose, and then exhaling that tension through the exhalation of your breath through the mouth. And as you do that, you must engage that power of your imagination and imagine that tension leaving your body as you exhale. So let's begin at the top of the head. Allowing that awareness to travel through your hair once again, but through the back side of your head, until your hair attaches that area to your neck where it creates that hairline. And allow your awareness to gather there for a moment, looking and finding for any tensions that may exist there and using your exhale to release them from your body. And do that now. Allow that awareness to travel down the back side of your neck on either side of your spine, relaxing and releasing any tensions that you find there, and take that same method of traveling through your back, focusing on the large muscles on either side of your spine as you travel through your upper back, through your middle back, through the area of your lower back, into the bowls of your hips, into your buttocks, into the backside of your thighs, the back of your knees, your calf muscles, your ankles, your feet, and your toes. And now our final exercise is to bring that same awareness back to the top of your head, and bringing awareness into every muscle of your body from the very top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. And as we inhale together, we're going to physically tighten every muscle in our body. And as we exhale, we're going to release. This offers the body a deeper state of relaxation, offering us to find that deeper place of comfort as we move into our short meditation here together. So bringing that awareness back to the top of your head, and now envisioning every single muscle in your body. As we inhale, we'll tighten, and as we exhale, we'll release. And we begin inhaling in, tightening every muscle from the very top of your head to the very tips of your toes, and then exhale and release. And one more time, inhaling in, tightening every muscle from the very top of your head to the very tips of your toes. Hold. And then exhale and release. And as you do this, notice how good that it feels to let it go. Breathing and allowing. All is well. And on your next inhalation, bending your knees so that your feet are flat on the floor, removing that rolled up blanket from underneath your lower back, and finding that position where you'd like to spend the rest of our time together today. Making any adjustments necessary for your comfort. And perhaps if you haven't done so already, offering your body a blanket to cover up with, because as the body finds that place of rest, our body automatically goes into a cooler state, and the body requires a little extra to stay warm and comfortable. And so finding that place now, offering the body any final adjustments for any further comfort. And if you happen to have an eye pillow or a small cloth, you may choose to place that over your eyes now as we move into those meditative spaces. The lens of darkness allows us to physically take ourselves a little deeper. So allow me to introduce to you the practice of working with your chakras with the intention of feeding your spirit. Remember that each day is a new beginning, and become aware that your task today is to learn the practice of consciously entering your body and your day. Begin by focusing your entire day from morning to evening and review your plans for today. Think about where you need to be and whom you need to be with. And think about whether you feel stressful about this day in your life. Or does it offer you feelings of comfort? And pay attention to this now. Do you feel prepared for today's events? Or did you feel prepared on this day in your life? Or are you projecting fears and expectations into your day? This beautiful day that you've been gifted to live today in your life. As you take a breath into your body, allow your focus to generate in the area of your first chakra at the base of your spine, to the color red, and to the energies of tribal power. These house the lessons related to the material world. And the sacred truth that resides here is that all is one. The truth is you are connected to all of life, and that every choice that you make and every belief that you hold exerts an energetic influence onto the whole of life. Breathing and allowing, all is well. And as you take another breath into your body, allow your awareness to come up into the area of your second chakra. This is physically the area of your lower back and hips, your sexual organs. This is the color orange and the energetic center that houses the power of your one-on-one relationships and the lessons that are related to those relationships, and to remind yourself that no relationship is without spiritual virtue, for they all teach us lessons. To the sacred truth to honor one another. Every relationship in your life, from casual to intimate, helps you to become more conscious. No union is without spiritual value. Breathing and allowing. Allowing yourself to draw that breath deep into the belly, expanding the lungs, allowing yourself to know that that breath is healing to every cell within your body. And as you take another breath into your body, allow yourself to focus on the area now of your third chakra, into the area of your solar plexus, to the area of your xiphoid, just at the base of where your rib cage attaches. This is the area of your gut instinct and your gut intuition. This is the energetic center of your personal power. This is the lessons related to the self and the power of the self, your line of integrity and honor within yourself, and to the sacred truth that you must honor yourself. You must be mature and honorable with the relationship that you have with yourself. And you must learn to accept responsibility for the person that you have become. The beautiful color that resides within this energy center is yellow. And it is all about the beautiful energies of the self. And allow yourself a moment to just focus here on that color and on the power of you. Breathing and allowing. All is well. And on our next inhalation, let us bring our awareness into the area of our heart chakra, to the center of our chest and the area of our heart, to the beautiful color of green, and to the energetic center of your emotional power, to the lessons related to love and forgiveness and compassion, and to the sacred truth that love itself is divine power, and that in fact love is the only true power that matters within this entire universe. The power of love. The power to learn to love yourself for who you are and who you have become. The emotional energy of love is the central power point and the true motivator of your body, mind, and spirit. Drawing that breath deep into the belly, expanding the lungs, knowing that that breath is healing and nourishing to every cell within your body. Breathing and allowing. All is well. And as we take that next inhalation of breath into our body, we imagine moving our focus into the area of our 5th chakra, to the area of our throat, and to the energetic power center of our will and choices, to the lessons related in self-expression, and to the sacred truth to surrender your personal will to divine will, to the power of the universe, and allow that to guide you. Your every choice, your every thought, and your every feeling has biological, environmental, social, personal, and global consequences. Actions motivated by personal will that trusts divine authority gives you the richest power. Breathing and allowing. All is well. All is well. And shifting your focus now from that energetic center of will in the area of your throat that housed the color of blue. Move that awareness now up into your 6th chakra, to the center of your forehead, to the power center of your mind, and to the color of indigo. This is the center of your mental power, the power of your mind, and the lessons related to wisdom and the acquisition of that wisdom, to the sacred truth to seek only the truth, continually searching for the difference between truth and illusion, and knowing that those two forces are present at every moment in time. Learn to trust what you cannot see more than what you can. Seek only the truth, for it is within that knowledge of truth that truly sets your spirit free. It allows you to live more in present time. Breathing and allowing, reminding yourself that all is well, that your body is firmly supported by the mat beneath you, that you are completely safe within this space, and that you are deeply loved. And as you inhale, bringing that awareness up into the area of your 7th chakra, to the area of the top of your head, hovering just energetically above the top of your head, to the color of violet or white, and to understand that this is your energetic connection to your spiritual power, that the lessons related to the divine exist here, and that the sacred truth that lives in this energetic center is to learn to live in present time, learning to live in the moment, to appreciate this very moment, because it will never happen this way ever again. Learn to live in present time, because then it is the only thing that matters. Because your past doesn't trap any of your energy from your history, and you haven't given any power away to future events that haven't happened yet, that you are living truly in present time. Learn to achieve a personal relationship with the divine, and all physical, psychological, and emotional illusions or fears need to be removed from your life. Let go of the past. Do not anticipate the future. And learn to live in the presence of the divine by learning to live in present time. Breathing and allowing. All is well. All is well. And for our final prayer, remember that you have only the now, that my attention will not go backwards into my history, nor forward into my future, that I am committed to present time, to remain grounded in my world, to feeling a bond with each person that I meet, to learning to respecting my own integrity and my own honor, to living within the energies of love and compassion this day and learning to return to that energy when I don't feel it, to making wise and blessed choices with my will, to release the need to know why things happen as they do, and to not project expectations over how I want this day to be and how I want others to be. And finally, my last prayer, to trust in the universe and to bless my day with gratitude and with love. And now imagine yourself lying upon the earth, the cool, moist earth of the evening. That you can feel the heat of the final rays of the sun cast upon your body. That you can feel that gentle caress across your skin of the wind. And that as you lie there in stillness and complete relaxation, that you can hear the whispering of the trees as the breeze passes through the leaves. And your body is so completely relaxed, so completely at ease, that you can imagine yourself beginning to rise off of the earth, hovering above the blades of grass. And that as you inhale deeply into your lungs, your body rises even higher, above the flowers and the shrubs. And with each deep, relaxing breath, you rise even higher into the trees and beyond, moving towards the clouds and feeling the moistness and the coolness of the clouds as your body passes through them. Breathing deeply, we rise even higher into the darkness of the night, until we can see ourselves clearly in our mind's eye as one of those beautiful sparkling lights in the nighttime sky. The energy that is you. And welcoming you back from your journey, wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. Maybe reaching your arms above your head, giving your body a gentle stretch, and maybe bending side to side. And maybe we choose to take these final moments of relaxation and reflection curled up on one side or the other of the body, with your eyes still closed. And as you reach that seated position, if it is part of your practice, then drawing your hands to heart center and slightly offering a bow to your head. Thank you for joining me today in this introductory exploration into the world behind your eyes, hoping that you have already discovered several tools to tuck within your toolbox to help open up those lenses of perception, to allow you to make a different choice tomorrow that empowers your spirit, that feeds your soul, and that helps you move forward onto this journey of healing. Thank you so much for joining me today. Blessings to all. Namaste.